Welcome to Ultimate Survival Gear. Today I have a very special review for you guys. As you can see, this is something from Salomon, but not just something. This is the brand new Salomon QUEST Element GTX. Now these are the brand new boots from Salomon. This is their newer QUEST version. Now if you have been watching, following my channel, following my videos, you know, checking out the reviews that I'm making, you know that I'm a huge fan of Salomon in general, but I'm even bigger fan of Salomon QUEST. What a great stuff. Salomon QUEST Prime I have reviewed. I love that boot. Salomon QUEST 4D 3 GTX, I think the names, there's a lot of stuff in it. I absolutely love, and now this is a QUEST Element, the brand new one, and check it out in this awesome red color. So overall, to give you an overview, I do like this boot a lot. They're not too heavy, they're fairly comfortable, they have a great lacing system, amazing outsole, absolutely phenomenal outsole, so overall pretty good. Currently $180 on Amazon. The link is in the description below. If you find this review useful and you decide to buy, please consider buying it through the link. You're not paying anything extra, but I am making a little bit of the percentage, and that's the nice way for you to say thank you for this review. Alright, let's get into the main review. As some of you already know, this review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival boots section. Yes, basically, if this wasn't just your regular hiking review boot, something bad happened, and you were wearing them, or you had them in the house, and now you put them on. You had to leave your house and you had to walk for miles and miles until you get to the safety. You had to climb, fight, do whatever is necessary to survive on the way, right? Would this be a good boot to survive in? Well, how do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1, comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots and shoes that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run, non-stop, and then a 5-mile walk, again, non-stop, through different terrains. And then I continue wearing the boots or shoes for the rest of the day, so that the total wear time is about 8 hours. And like I said, overall, these are fairly comfortable. Let's start from the very first factor that contributes or takes away from that comfort, the weight. And this is the size 10. Let's see exactly how light or heavy these boots are. 21.09. Now, if you have been watching any of my other reviews, you know that I always recommend, if you're looking for something lightweight, you want something under 20 ounce. The more under 20 ounce it is, the lighter it feels. Now these are 21 ounce, a little bit over, just an ounce over that 20 baseline. So definitely a little bit on the heavier side. Not too bad, just 1 ounce, but still something to keep in mind. So you know, especially if you're running, because in survival situations you most likely will have to run at some point, you're definitely gonna feel a little bit of the fatigue. You're not gonna be able to run as fast or as long of a distance because of that little extra weight. Just something for you to keep in mind. But let's move on to the next factor. The next factor is the flexibility of the bottom sole. And here, as you can see, because it is so bulky, it is on the stiffer side. Not too bad, still more or less flexible, but on the stiffer side. Again, keep that in mind. That will impact your running. It's not as easy to run in these. Keep in mind. All right, let's move on to the next factor, is the inner sole. Now, inner sole here is my favorite Ortholite. And let me take it out so I can show you exactly what's going on here. As you can see, here we go. This is our Ortholite. Now there's a decent amount of cushioning, not a lot, it's fairly thin, but this is how usually Ortholite is. There's a nice heel bed, there's a nice shape to it. Now Ortholite inner sole itself has that moisture wicking technology, so that the bacteria does not spread in your, in your boot. If you're wearing them for a long time, that's great to have. But here's a little bit of minor complaint that I have. Once you remove the inner sole, there's nothing else. It goes straight into that very hard rubber. There's no more cushioning. And in previous Salomon models, that's what you could find. You could find that blue layer of additional cushioning that adds to it. I personally like that a lot. Not the case here. I wish it was, but it's not, unfortunately. Again, if you prefer the more softer, more cushiony inner sole, you might find this a little bit on the stiffer side. Let's talk about the padding now. Plenty of padding in the tongue, very nice and soft. I do like it a lot. Plenty of padding here in the shaft, very good. Padding throughout most of the boot, feels nice and soft, except the very front. This front right here, this cap right here, this rubber cap for the protection, which we'll talk about later. On the inside of the toe box, it goes straight into it. So it's very important to get this boots in the right size. If it's too small, you're gonna feel this and you're not gonna like it. Believe me, very, very important to get these in the right size. So overall, good comfort, but could have been definitely better. Honestly, I would probably go with the Quest Prime or Quest 4D, the older model, than the Element. That's just my personal opinion, however. Let's move on to the criteria number 2, proofing and protection. Now, proofing here is a fancy GORE-TEX, fancy waterproofing technology. GTX is very good. It's very, very reliable. I've tested it plenty of times, and it definitely works very well whenever it comes to waterproofing. It's very breathable, very lightweight overall. The only downside of GORE-TEX is this: it adds quite a lot to the price. It's, you know, on the pricier side. One thing I wanted to mention here, however, that I'm kind of disappointed whenever it comes to waterproofing is, as you can see, the gusseting. Salomon decided not to utilize the whole length of the shaft, and they only waterproofed it less than 6 inches, whereas the whole shaft is 6 inches. So here is about 5.5 inches of waterproofing. The lowest part of the shaft is more than 6 inches, like 6.5 inches. So they could have utilized at least another inch here of waterproofing, just if they, you know, if they did the gusseting a little bit taller here, and they didn't. I don't know why. To me, that's kind of overview. Not in a good way overview, but in a bad way, like underview, you know, whatever, you get the point. They could have done another inch of waterproofing, but they didn't. So let's move on to the protection now. Protection-wise, pretty good job Salomon did, again, with their cap. Now, don't get me wrong, this is pretty soft still. If you drop a big rock on it, you're gonna feel it, all right? But you do have some protection on the rocky road, very nice. Again, you have protection in the ankle here, as pretty much as much from a boot as you can get, because of all the padding, because the full size of the boot, and of course your heel is reinforced. You do have a contact grip from the bottom, the outsole, which we'll talk about later, but great protection from the outsole as well. Let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, quality wise, if you click on the link in the description below, you're not gonna find a lot of reviews because these are newer on the market, so there are not a lot of reviews on them just yet. However, the Salomon is very tested brand. They have been around forever, so I definitely trust the brand. I mean, my number 1 favorite boots out there are from Salomon, all right? So I love the stuff that they're doing, so I fully trust those guys whenever it comes to the quality. Now, design features here, I talk about the lacing system here. As you can see, it's nice, thicker strings, which I do like a lot. You have 4 regular fabric hooks, which I wish that there was some plastic tubing inside just to kind of protect from rubbing and ripping, because that's, I feel like after a certain amount of time, this will create just, you know, this material will be destroyed. So usually I like to have plastic tubing inside of these fabric hooks to create that protection for the, you know, hooks themselves, because you don't want that to break somewhere in the middle of a hike. Moving further, you do have 3 pairs of open hooks. This right here is a locking hook. So here, whenever you're tightening it, if you go through here, it actually locks the string in place nice and tight, and that's it. So you can set different tensions for this part and this part. This is a Salomon technology that they use on a lot of their boots, and I absolutely freaking love it. And as you can see, it's very aggressive. Hopefully it's not gonna damage the lacing over time, but it locks it in place very nicely. I like it a lot. I like this lacing system. So let's move on to the criteria number 4 now. Outsole traction and stability. Now, whenever I test the outsole, whenever I do my run and my walk, I do it on the variety of different surfaces, starting from older asphalt, and then going to newer tarmac, then some dry sand, some wet sand, dry grass, wet grass, rocky road, trail surface, concrete, rubber, marble, and tile. And then also the rock wall that I have in the house. This outsole is fantastic. Now, contact grip, this is a Salomon's outer outsole that they use all the time, most of the times on their boots. Is absolutely fantastic. This pattern is great. It is very flat, so performs very good on sandy surfaces, but at the same time it's very aggressive. And at the same time it has these little grooves that help, although it's not advertised as oil and slip resistant, it does perform very well on flat shiny surfaces like marble and tile. Very, very good. I love this outsole. And besides, it gives you unbelievable amount of, walking on the rocky road, you don't feel nothing. It's so tough. The only downside of that is it adds to the weight and it takes away from the flexibility. So it's kind of, are you willing to sacrifice that for a protection or no? Personal preference. Let's move on to the criteria number 5 now, temperature. Now, obviously these are now winter boots. They are not insulated. You can definitely get away in some colder temperatures with these, especially if you implement some insulated socks. They are waterproof after all, so they will be pretty good in the snow. They will handle in the snow very good as well whenever it comes to the traction and stability. On the ice, of course, not even going to talk about this because there isn't really a lot of stuff that performs well on the ice out of the box, unless it's, of course, the specifically ice boot with some metal spikes. But in the hot temperatures, they do carry well, very well. They're not too hot. My feet did not overheat. They're very nice and very breathable thanks to the GORE-TEX waterproofing technology. It still allows that breathability. So overall, very nicely balanced for weather. Criteria number 6 now, very quickly, the sizing. They are true to the size. But keep in mind, you definitely do want to get a half a size bigger at least than your normal shoe size so that you have a little bit of that extra space here in the toe box. You definitely do need it. You don't want them to be just the right size so that your toe box is here at the front touching it, because if it is touching, you're gonna feel fatigue very, very quickly. Keep that in mind. Let's move on to the criteria number 7 now, the balance of application. So, if this really were your ultimate survival boots, would they be good for your survival? Would you survive in them? Well, it really comes down to the personal preference, right? Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of that lightweight feeling, that mobility, right? Being able to run faster, climb faster, fight faster, all of these things for some extra protection on the outsole, for some extra protection here and there, for the extra length of the shaft. It's up to you. It's really personal preference. My biggest complaints with this boot is, I would say, besides the weight and everything and the stiffness of the outsole, would be with these things I can live because I say, okay, I sacrifice them for the protection. But the gusseting here is just, they, like the whole inch at least, they could have made it more waterproof, which is a big deal. Now you can step in a puddle 1 inch deeper and stay dry. Not the case here, unfortunately. I don't know why. It was definitely oversight on somebody's part. But this is really my main complaint with the Salomon. Usually, I'm being tough on these guys, but just because my expectations are high because of all the stuff that I reviewed, and it's always great. And the other thing is, I wish, but this is really personal, I wish there was more cushioning. I would really appreciate more cushioning. But overall, great boot. Just fantastic. Really, as good as it can get. Especially the outsole is just phenomenal. And the very last criterion here is criteria number 8. The price, like I said in the beginning, is currently $180 on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Definitely fair price for everything that you're getting. Honestly, a lot better than a lot of other stuff on the market out there. Is there a competition in that price range? Yes, from the same brands like Salomon. There's a few good options I can think of from La Sportiva, from Lova, from Salewa, or Salewa, I don't know however you pronounce that name. So there is definitely competition in that price range. Although this is definitely a fair price, so I would say at the end of the day, this is your personal preference. If you like Salomons, you're probably gonna go with Salomons. If you want full size, you're probably gonna go with these, or the Prime, or the 4D. There are some options out there. And if you don't know about those boots, definitely check out the reviews. I have them on this channel. Just type in the Salomon, and you will find everything from, I have a whole playlist created just Salomon stuff, so make sure to check that out. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think about this review? What do you think about this boots? If you have any requests for reviews, drop them in the comments below. If you want to support my work, please consider subscribing. If you want to support it even more, please consider helping me out through Patreon. The links are in the description below. And of course, you can buy, if you're planning to buy this boot anyway, you can buy through the link in the description below. That would definitely help me out as well. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Really appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.